During the first session, we learned a lot of things. We learned how it's good for us to have skills to make us versatile and make us more valuable in our place of work. We learned that we should always have goals. We should have a plan. We should learn to practice proper time management and everything. So the purpose of this workshop now is for us to now learn how to do all of these things we said. So there are some of you who are probably here that I think before now I've gotten a lot of people who have reached out to say, "Oh ma, how do I earn in Web3 or whatnot?" And I'll be like, you should build a career in Web3 space because that would actually take you far. And the next question they'll ask me is, what career should I build? I'll be like, have you taken out time to go online on Google to check for career paths on like in the Web3 space? And they'll be like, yes, they have and stuff. But they don't know which path they want to take. So part of what we'll be learning during this workshop is how you can identify the path that you want to take while leveraging on your passion and your interests. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing something that you're not passionate about, or you're doing something that does not pique your interest, you'll find out that you will not have a lot of satisfaction in that thing. And you'll be doing it just for the sake of doing it, not because you really enjoy doing it. And the truth is, when we're doing things that we don't enjoy doing, we do not get the highest results. Like the best results we're supposed to get from doing that task, we won't be able to get it. So because at that time, you're not giving your 100%, you're probably giving your 10% or 20%. But if it's something that you really love to do, trust me, even if they're not paying you, you see how we're talking about how some of your skills may not even be paying you at that point in time. Even if it's something that is not paying you, but because you love it, it's something you enjoy, you find yourself just doing it with joy. Like someone asked me, why women in DeFi? And I told the person, because I am able to impact into the life of others. That is because impact is something that I love. And even when I go to, like, if I get a job opportunity and whatnot, I would still want to look for a way to bring impact into that company and make sure that the company is impacting into others in one way or the other. Like, you should check all the previous companies. If you have me on LinkedIn and whatnot, you see all the different companies I've worked with and try to see the kind of activities they've done on the norms. Most times I'm the one forcing them, let's go to secondary school, let's do campus activations, let's go and teach people out, let's teach them about skills in tech, let's teach them skills in Web3 and whatnot. Sometimes it may not be part of their plan, but it's impact. It's something that I love. And most times I would now look for a way to blend the overall goal of that company or my team to doing that particular activity. And at the end of the day, they'll see results. This is me telling you that I am doing this because impact is something that I value a lot. So yes, that's one of the things we're going to be learning in today's workshop. So I believe some of you already know this. I'm Sarahidahosa. I'm the founder of Women in DeFi, a non-profit that educates young girls and ladies about skills to build a career in blockchain technology. Beyond impact, I lead partnerships at Mansa, where Mansa is basically a fintech that uses DeFi like blockchain technology to finance companies that are into cross-border transaction, cross-border payment. So what we do is we provide them liquidity through stable coins, because we've seen that it's a problem for companies. That's literally impact. I just told you, because there are several companies in emerging markets that they know what they are doing, they know their clientele, but they do not have access to money. They do not have access to liquidity to serve their customers. So what we're doing now at Mansa is we're impacting these people by giving them the money that they need. And in return, we just collect very tiny interest or tiny returns, like for the money that we've provided for them. So yeah, that's what we do at Mansa. Aside that, I also lead communities. I tell people this. Someone once said that community management is not a big deal. I'm like, who said so? You can have a company today, and if you're not building community, if the members of that use your products, or even your workers, if it's not a community, you find out that your cross-functional teams, at the end of the day, people will be working in silos because it's not a family. So no matter what you're doing, whatever it is that you're building, find a way to build a community of it. So yes, I enjoy building communities because I love talking to people. I would say every one of you here, you're members of my little community, because I believe you wouldn't be here if you don't love Sarah, or if you're not interested in what I have to offer to you. That is why you are here. And that automatically makes you part of my community, because we're here to exchange information and also exchange ideas with one another. And I believe that aside today, we'll continue to do this based on everything we've learned from this session. So yeah, that's basically what I do. So what we're going to be talking about during this workshop is, first of all, the goal of the workshop. And part of the goals is for us to understand ourselves. If you don't understand yourself, you can't choose a career path. Let's be honest with ourselves. If you don't know what you like or what you want, you won't be able to like build a career or a goal or something, achieve. Say you want to achieve something, you end up moving on smokes or on vibes and inshallah, like I love to say it. You're just moving on running water, and that's just, at the end of the day, you won't be able to achieve anything. We're also going to be exploring several career opportunities in tech and also in Web3. Then we'll go into skill building and development, and as well as creating a career growth plans. So I have 3 goals for this workshop for everyone. And at the end of it, if I tell you my 3 goals, I would want 2 people to tell me what they aim to achieve at the end of this workshop from everything I've said so far. Let me hear from your own point of view, what you want to like, what you aim to achieve. For me, the first goal is for you to have a correct understanding of your career goals and your strength. So that's what I have said, like at the beginning, how certain people would reach out to say they don't know the career path that they should take. So through what we're going to be talking about, you should, at the end of the session, you should be able to understand, oh, this is the kind of thing I like. How can I connect this thing I like to the career path I want to take in Web3, or I want to take in tech? That's even if you're, now, quick pointer. Whatever it is we're going to be talking about here, it's not Web3 alone. It is something you can apply, not even just in your career, but like in all areas, all aspects of your life, because you're planning to do things of your career now, let's say extracurricular activities, things we will learn from here, you can also relate it to that. So rest assured that even if you hear me say in your Web3 part, or there are times I'll probably use language like, oh, in your Web2 skill or your Web3 career, your Web2 career path, don't think I'm just referring to just Web2 or just Web3. I'm referring to like all around, so I just have to like point that out. The second goal is for you to have awareness of your skills needed for growth. So there are some of us that we usually have goals that, oh, in my career next year, by this time next year, I want to make sure that I'm in senior level. That's, you know how we have entry level, mid level, then professionals, or those in senior level. Then from seniors, I think we have directors before, or VPs rather, before you now see the main C-suites, the CMO, the CEO, the COO, and whatnot. So maybe I'm already saying, oh, by this time next year, I want to be a senior, blah, 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 blah in my career path. What are the skills? What are the things I need to do to be able to achieve that by next year? So we're going to also learn how we can identify those skills and also build up the last part, which is to turn those dreams to actionable plans. So you've been able to identify the skills now. How can you now build up on those skills to get to that part that you said that you want to be? So are we ready for this session? So the first part, because it's divided into 4 parts based on everything I've said so far. And the first part is us understanding ourselves. Understanding yourself. That is why I point, the hand is there. I'm pointing at you. Now, everything we're going to be doing here today, focus on yourself. Think about just yourself. Don't think about, with Sarah, does this make, if this thing makes sense? You're not doing it for Sarah, you're doing it for yourself. So whatever it is you're going to be writing down on your paper when I say, oh, write this or write that, think about it for yourself, how it's also going to impact you. So understanding yourself, there are several people that they move based on what they see others do. I would say that I used to be one of those at the beginning of like my career. Oh, because my friends are actively trading, I also want to trade. Let me be trading. Even though I was hitting consistent losses at a point, like back to back. Me and this person will enter one trade, and the person will be at 100x, or maybe let's say 10x. Let me not like exaggerate too much. The person is at 10x, and me, I'm at probably minus 78%. I'll be wondering, it's not the same trade we entered. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard the story of how I said it was this trade we entered then, and I used 70% of my total portfolio, like my entire net worth, to enter that trade. And it went down to the trenches. Like, it took me to the trenches, rather. It went down to ground zero. And a couple of my friends also entered that same trade. They went like X5, X6 before they jumped out. And I think it was that was actually the moment in my life when I was like, Sarah, are you really sure this is something you want to be doing? Is this how you want to live your life every time? Because you know what it means to lose 70% of your entire portfolio. You have just 30%, and that 30% is what you use to feed until you are able to like build back up again. It was crazy because I knew what it took for me to like get the money that I just burnt down within 2 minutes. So it was actually less than 2 minutes, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I was screaming. Like I would always say, I would never forget Screen Pay in my entire life. I will continue to tell people the story of how Screen Pay made me scream. Screen Pay is the name of the project, by the way. So I've been screaming since then. So I think that was because that was because I didn't quite understand myself at that time. I probably didn't know what I actually wanted. I was doing it because that was what people they were doing. But the moment I was able to like understand myself, I was able to know what I wanted. Things began to be a lot more better. Things became better for me. And I think that is what we're going to be talking about here. So understanding yourself, what can it do for you? What are the benefits? The first, it gives you clarity in your career direction. If you know what you like, if you know your interests, you will have a better like knowledge of where you want to be and why you also want to be there. I can't say I don't like people that dance. I don't like dancing. But I just wake up one morning and I say, I want to go to America Got Talent and I want to go there to dance. Does that even make sense? Because dancing is not my thing. How will I go and do dancing in HGT? I've seen people who have, come on, let's be honest. We've seen people who go to The Voice Nigeria or these ones, they will go there and they will just totally humiliate themselves and even the judges. Let's say they're humiliating the judges because you are there, you're wasting their time. And you know this is not something that is not for you, but you want to do it. So if you do not understand yourself, you will not have clarity or you will not have proper direction in your career. And another thing is, you will not be confident if you do not know yourself. I can confidently sit here with you all, or rather, let me not even say sit here. This event wouldn't be happening right now if I don't know what I carry or what I'll be able to talk to you guys, like talk to you about. If I don't know that this is a topic that I can skillfully deliver, I wouldn't be able to sit here to say I want to do this workshop. Even though I ended up doing my slide just last night. Yes, this is me confessing. It's an open confession. Because I had totally forgotten that this workshop was going to happen. But then I was like, fuck it. It's something I was planning to do next year, by the way. So why not? Let me just sit down and do it. And I was just, as it was coming to my head, I was penning it down. And I created my own slide on it. I am confidently speaking to you guys because speaking is something I love. I was telling Bibi today, like, you could tell me I have 5 minutes to talk about something and I'll probably end up using 30 minutes. I think people like Eniola, they don't like me coming to their Twitter space on Web3 Africa, a community, because if they tell Sarah, please give us just 1 point, I'll probably talk about 5 different things on that 30 minutes. Well, yeah, that is because I have interest in talking, in speaking. So I can confidently do it. So that is it. If you do not know what you like, you can't confidently do it. That is something you need to know. Before you can, even if they force you to do it, you probably go there and you'll be nervous, you'll be scared, you'll not deliver it as much as you're supposed to. Another thing is, you have greater fulfillment, which I talked about at the beginning. If you're doing something that you do not like, you will not be fulfilled when you're doing. There are several other pointers that you could also take down, but that's the last one. I'm trying to work with time here. Greater fulfillment. I think like I said, when I was trading with these people at that time, I was not fulfilled. People, they were enjoying it, they were making money off it, but I wasn't. Because my friends were trading, that was why I was trading. Or let's even leave that. I think there was even a time when someone, a friend of mine per se, shaded me that I was in the Web3. I'm currently at the level of Web3 where I'm supposed to be at the top. But because I'm not doing influencing just like the rest of them, I am still earning as small as people below me. I told the person, I said, do you think so? Do you think it's always about money? I could decide to go into influencing, and which I decide at one point that let me do it. And bro, it's not for me. Trust me. The projects were coming. It's not like they were not coming, but I wasn't enjoying it. But when it comes to like corporate work, they're talking about skill building, talking about building a career. I can say that I don't want to brag, but one of them needed to do something I did recently. And I told him, oh, okay, this was what I did, this was what I did. You should do the same thing. So I think they sent the person a list of questionnaires to fill. And he didn't have one thing to write. Because at that time, he now came to me, Sarah, please, oh, how did you do your own? Should we not be the same thing they do for Web3? I said, we know they do the same thing. You be influencer, not be influencer. I am actively working for projects. I am building people. I go for events to speak. I have a community that I train people on. I have a lot of things to talk about, but you have nothing. Aside the fact that you are being paid $200 to write a tweet, you are keeping money, but at the end of the day, you do not have anything to back it up. Aside your Twitter page, which by tomorrow, if Elon decides to take down your Twitter, you have to start from ground zero. But for me, no matter how many times I fall, I will always come back up because I have built structures. So that is what knowing yourself can do for you. I've been able to identify that, oh, this is what I am, this is what I can do. And I've decided to like stick to it because it's working for me. It may not work for you, but you should just know that what is working for Sarah may not work for you. That's something that is very important. You need to understand. And that brings us to our first exercise, where we have to know ourselves, how we can know ourselves. So if you have a book or a pen there, first thing I want you to do is think of 3 things that you are good at, professionally or academically. For me, I'm good at speaking. Think right from when I was in nursery school. Very recently, I went home to see my mom and I stumbled on my report book from when I was in primary school. And there was always one thing that, you know, those class remarks, they always put the teacher's remark at the bottom. There was one thing that was always consistent in all of my reports from first term, second term, third term in primary 1, primary 2, 3. She's very intelligent but very noisy in class. She's very intelligent but very noisy in class. She talks too much. She talks too much. She's smart but she talks too much. Like, I had to ask my mom, is this how I used to talk a lot? And I say, eh? She said, they used to beg me to sleep. That when I'm sleeping, they always have joy in the house. Like, there's always peace. Because once I'm awake, I'm always seeing one thing to gist about. I'm always having one story to talk about one thing that happened in school that nobody asks me about. I'm always talking. And it's also, they said there was this teacher in my school, which I think I recall her now, Miss Chade then. She used to be like the strictest teacher then in my primary school. But for some reasons, I was her favorite. And I think my mom was like, Miss Shade then used to say that if not for the fact that I was smart or I was intelligent, I would have probably been the worst student in her class. Because I always talk. My elder sister then would say, you are not so coordinated, Sarah. You are everywhere. Why can't you sit in one place? But now, I am using talking to get the bag. Like, right now, I literally get paid to speak at several events because I can talk. I had to think, as I was growing, I had to like think of a way I could bring that talking into it. That is why you see that right now. Bibi said this session was supposed to be for 3 hours. When I told her 3 hours, she screamed. I was like, yes, it's best if I say 3 hours and 15 minutes or 30 minutes. But I know once I start talking about stories now, we'll probably even leave the workshop. They'll come back to it. I believe we've all written down the 3 things that we're good at. Now, write down 3 areas or topics that excite you. Now, what this means is, for me, I'm excited about impact. I'm excited about Web3. I'm excited about blockchain technology. Now, think of 3 areas, 3 things that you know that they excite you. Now, the third thing there is, you now have to think of how your skill and your interests, they connect. Now, let me give you guys a good example. Like I said, I know how to speak here, and I have interest in Web3. I can use my speaking ability or speaking skill now, or my interest in speaking to advocate or talk about Web3 wherever I go to. Does that make sense? That is why I can go to events, Web3 events, and discuss on a particular topic like I'm gisting with my friends. Because speaking is like an inborn thing already for me. Forget about speaking now. I have a skill with people management, like I said. From when I was young, as far back as I can recall, I've always been given leadership role in different places. In Legion of Mary then, because I'm a Catholic, our secretary had issues. Out of the blue, me that was like a new member in the association, on that particular association, they told me I would be what did they call it now? Something secretary at that time, acting secretary, yes. Depending when the secretary comes back, bro, I'm just new here. I got into school during my ND at that time. There was one organization called Ministry which I joined, and the way it works is when the ESCOs they are graduating, of course, the new people don't have to elect people that they'll give them a new role. Now, there are several people who have been in ministerial since their ND that they are now in HND. That's their finals and stuff. For those who understand how Polytechnic works, ND1, ND2, HND1, HND2. So it's like your 100 level, 200 level, 300 level, and final year. So it's 4 years. And some of these people already in HND were already thinking that, oh, because they've been in ministry for the longest time, they'll probably elect them. But out of the blue, they gave me a secretary role again in ministry. It caused a big issue, but yeah, why I had to ask. They said a lot of the ESCOs that were passing out, they voted and were like, more than one person actually wanted to give me their role. So the way it works is, this ESCO will say, oh, is this person I'm nominating to take my position? Then the other ESCOs will have to vote on it if they should give the position to that person or not. So apparently a lot of people nominated me for their roles. They said because in ministry at that time, I had a good relationship with almost everybody. Almost everybody was Sarah's friend. I was always talking and gisting. If I come to meetings at that time, hey, have fun now. So yeah, I want to sit today. Yeah, I want to sit down. Like, because I was always a people's person. Even if we're not like close, but to an extent, I had a relationship with almost everyone. So they believed that I could handle this role. Fast forward to drama unit NSCS. NSCS drama unit was literally the same thing. They gave me assistant director role. And see, that one was even the biggest issue. Because the people that had already thought they were going to be assistant director, rather the person that actually thought she was going to get the role, found out that it was Sarah. Sarah that just joined last semester. How come? Like this, it caused a big problem. For me, I didn't even know. Hey, Carrie, now me, I don't even want. Me, I just want to come here and act drama and go back home because I was a very dramatic person. Come on. See, now I'm still dramatic though, but. So I was really good at acting and they gave me assistant director. So now I have to be the one directing other people that were acting. And they felt I was a newbie. But then again, it's because I have learned how to manage people. And I brought that now to Web3, which I'm interested in. That is where community building came through. Because you can't be a community manager if you don't have people skill, if you don't have speaking skill. Now, these are just, I would say they are soft skills now. These are like soft skills. Be able to collaborate with people, to interact with people. Before you now think of the normal art skills, which is, I think that's where your normal knowledge of Web3 comes in, because you have to know Web3 for you to build a community in Web3 and all the other skills that comes in. But I hope you all understand how I've been able to now use my interests or what I know that I'm good at or I'm passionate about to like connect it to a topic or a career path or a particular level, or not really level, but more of like a niche or industry that I'm interested in. You see the connection. Have you done that for yourself? We've written down our skills and what we have interest in. Now, the next thing you would want to focus on now is your values. Now, I had to go and read, and Oxford Dictionary said values are principles or your standard of your behavior. While Gemini AI gave me several definitions of values, but I think the one I picked the most there was the importance or worth of something in relation to ethical principles and human well-being. It is very, very important for you to know your values. Like, they are like your deal breakers. That no matter what happens, if this thing is not there, you will not work there. So, you know how I said I left one job and in 2 weeks later, I got a new job offer and whatnot. But what I didn't say was I didn't accept the second job offer that came in. That was because the pay was good. Like, it was good like mad. But why did I not accept it? It didn't align with my values. I had to study the company. See, you know when you go for interviews and they ask you questions? Not me, Sha. If you tell me, oh, Sarah, let's talk and stuff, and let's say you reach out to me and you say, Sarah, let's talk, and you're asking me questions about myself. If I know you want me to come and work in your company, I will ask you questions about your company too. Because I'm trying to figure out if, when I come to work with you, is it a job that I'll be looking forward to every day? Or a job that for every new day I'm pissed like Omo? Or for every weekend, every Sunday night, I'm already saying, Omo, tomorrow is Monday. Oh, I need to do this thing. God, please, let Saturday do and come again so I can rest. Do you get? You know, when you're doing something that your values are not aligning, it doesn't give you satisfaction. You don't, your decision making is always shaky. Like, you just they do them because you just want to do them because they pay you at the end of the month, not because it's something you really enjoy. So it still goes back to like your interest and stuff. But for values, these are your deal breakers. For me, I already mentioned impact. It's something I value a lot. Another thing I value is creativity. Like if I'm coming to work with you and I see that the kind of role you're trying to give to me is something where I'm not allowed to be creative. I can't bring my creativity into the work. I know I'm not going to enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, I'm only doing what you want me to do, not what me I know I can do or what I would love to do. So these are the kind of questions I ask when I do, like when I'm speaking with HR or COOs, when we go on calls. I'll be like, oh, this role you are giving to me, does it give room for creativity? Is there any, at any point in time, am I allowed to bring in my own ideas? Even if you do not accept it immediately, is this something that you probably want to like sleep on? You are free to ask these questions. The truth is, no one is even going to flog you if you ask, but people don't know this. You think when you are doing interviews or stuff, you are the only ones that can ask. So you're also permitted to ask them questions. That is why at the end of this, they will ask you, is there anything you would like to know about us? They don't ask that thing because of you to come and tell them the salary expectations conversation is always different. But this part of the conversation gives you room to ask them, oh, what are the values of your company? What are your like things that guide you? Women in DeFi, we have our values. Me as an individual, I have my value, which I've just said: impact, innovation, and creativity. Another thing is financial inclusion, bro. If the work you want to give to me, I know that I'm not going to grow financially, I will not accept it. If it's the same as my previous salary, I don't care, bro. Like, I'm going to sit down. And I learned this still from my first company. The co-founder, I said, recommended me for this next job. So I was speaking to her and I told her that I think this job that I had this interview that I didn't accept, at the same time, another one came. So I had to reach out to her like, oh, Kate, I have 2 different job offerings. What do you think I should do? And that was when she said, are you free to go on a call? And she was telling me that, oh, over her career for several years and whatnot, these are the kind of things that she always tends to look out for before she accepts any new job offer. That was when she made me understand what values actually meant. She started listing out her own values and she was like, oh, if the job does not meet this criteria, if it doesn't meet this criteria, I am not going to accept it. If it meets 2, maybe she said, oh, 4, she's looking out for 4 things, but the job meets 2, she may consider it. Then when she starts doing the job, if she sees that it's probably becoming shaky or is not doing as much as it should do, she walks away. She tells them, oh, I'm sorry, I have to quit and stuff. I have to leave the job. That's something that we should know. Always make sure to know your values and prioritize them whenever you're thinking of anything you want to do. Whether in your career, you're starting a business, you're doing it. I don't think Scott will be doing the work even right now if it's something he doesn't have interest in or it doesn't align with his values as an individual. So you see the way companies, they will tell you about us, mission, vision, values. You as an individual, you should also know what like your values are, because it will help you in decision making. It will help you whenever you go to it will stop you from a lot of nonsense. That's just the truth. You are doing a job that at the end of the day, they want you to, I don't think I'm supposed to say this, but we've heard of cases where they would say some bankers, I think they say it's recently, it was a trend again on Twitter when they're like, oh, female bankers, that they tell them to do this. But before you took that job, you probably already knew that you were going to you were going to be made to do this. I'm sure you would have done your own research and you probably know that whoever was doing that role was probably doing that thing. But you accepted the job anyway. That's because it's not really a deal breaker for you, for being honest. But if you have to put yourself in there, that means you enjoy it. So it's not that now they're not telling you to do it. You're not saying, these are kind of questions that you're supposed to have asked from the beginning, things you would have clarified. Oh, do I have to do this? And that is why whenever I take up a job or I take up a new role and maybe something I asked at the beginning and they told me they don't do it, but now you're telling me to do it, I'm sorry. But during the conversation we had, you told me I wouldn't be doing this. I have done that countless times. Until date, the job I said I walked away from when they fired my other colleagues and whatnot, it's still what one of the co-founders still uses to put. He said to date, he respects me for the way I was able to walk away from that job. That I told them that, oh, right now it doesn't align with my goals for myself anymore because I can't do this. You want me to stay here when you reduce or rather you've increased my payroll, my work, but my payroll is not being increased. That is the financial inclusion I'm talking about now with my values. You see, I'm doing more work. I'm expected to be getting more pay for it and not the same pay as when I was doing lesser work. So you see how I was able to walk away from it. So your values are things that will guide you in making such decisions. So now, you as an individual, write down your own values, your own career values. Things that you know that come rain, come shine, you will never do it. Like if they tell you, oh, let's say you have an organization now. For me, for example, say I have just as I have women in DeFi, and I'm trying to raise money to do an activity, and someone is telling me, oh, for us to give you money, you have to ask your community members to do this, this, this. But when I sit down and think, it's not part of our values, not what we do as women in DeFi. I'm not going, I'll just tell them, oh, if that's the only condition to accept it, I'm sorry, we won't be able to do it. I can tell you like several meetings we've had on our own for women in DeFi to raise funds for sponsorships and whatnot, that at the end of the day, I'm the one who is rejecting them. And I was the one that went to beg them. But by the time they now start telling me, oh, you guys must do this, you guys must do this. And I start thinking, is this something that I would want my community members to do? Is this something that I would do on a normal day? When I start thinking of this and I see that it doesn't align with my values, I'm so sorry. But if that's the case, I don't think this conversation can proceed. Very recently, I had the opportunity to work with Yellow Card, and the lady was enjoying the whole conversation and whatnot. But a few days ago, I just sent her a voice note on WhatsApp, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I don't think I can do this thing you want me to. I just came up with one lie because I don't have strength that day to come and be explaining this was why I can't come and do the gig that she wanted me to do. I just told her I'm sorry. And that was because I took her time to go and sit down and see, oh, are these the things I really want to be doing right now, Sarah, if I'm being honest? Because I know myself. So that is the purpose of you knowing yourself. When you know yourself, you know what you can do. You know what you have interest in. You know your deal breakers. Your deal breakers are your values. That you know that, oh, sorry, I know fits, man. I got to go. I can't accept this. Even if I'm starving, for the fact that it doesn't align with my values, I will not take it no matter what. I hope we've learned something from there. Now you know your values. I'm sure you just wrote them down. Start numbering them and ranking them from 1 to 5. Now, the one that you know that you always give highest priority when you're thinking of your values, put it as number 1. Then the next thing you know you definitely want to consider from the values you've written down, put it as number 2. You should rank them accordingly. Those things I listed there, those are my own values. Financial growth, making a positive impact, flexibility and work-life balance, opportunities of learning and growth, then innovation and creativity. And they were written out just exactly the way I look at things whenever I'm doing something. Oh, if it doesn't align with my financial, like there's no financial growth for me, then sorry. Then I look at number 2. I say, oh, does this job, will it help me make a positive impact in one way or the other? Is there a way I can bring in things that I'm interested in into here? If it's not, sorry, I can't do it. Number 3, is there flexibility? That is why till date, no matter how much you want to pay me, I will never do an on-site job. Like, I don't care. I've gotten job offers, but the moment I start seeing you must come to the office Monday to Friday, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. Because it's something that I've always said, yeah, if it's on-site, I'm not doing it. If it's hybrid, and maybe the hybrid is maybe I just have to come to the office maybe once in a week or twice in a week, I could consider it. Because then I would have to like use the other 3 days to do whatever it is that I need to do. But those 2 days I'll go to the office, I will make sure that when you see results from me, you could even say, Sarah, don't worry, if you don't even want to come tomorrow, don't come. I did it then at Mara when I was still working at Mara. Then they told us that we should come to the office twice in a week. And I told them that where I was living at that time was not favorable for me. So it wasn't even going to work until I started coming. So whenever I go to the office, I will make sure I do a lot of things, meet all my tasks. Then when I say I'm not coming to the office tomorrow, HR has no choice, no problem. Here you are staying is even far. Because of me, they had to tell my team that if you guys can be coming just once a week, it's fine. That was just because of me. Do you get? And later on, it got to the stage where I stopped going to the office totally. I now became the only staff within my team. Even those outside of Nigeria, those in Kenya, they were going to Kenya office at least once in a week, but not me, Sarah. I was working from home, and then they were like, it's just like you are the favorite of everybody in the company, all the co-founders. And I said, I'm not anybody's favorite. It's just that they are seeing results. Because at the end of the day, I'm showing them my results. But if the company at any point had said, I have to be coming on site like fully, I would have told them I can't anymore because it's not my thing. Did you get? I can't do on-site work. I'm so sorry, but some people would say this is just me being weird right now, but it's the truth. If it has to be coming to the office every day, I will not. And another thing, I look for opportunities for learning and growth. So I have taken a job before where the purpose of accepting that role was because I wanted to learn from someone. So I had the privilege of knowing who was going to be my direct line manager. And it was someone that I've known in Web3 space that I've always wanted to work with, to learn from him. And when I found out that it's the person I'll be reporting to, without even thinking twice, but checking financial growth was there. And I was like, I will accept zero just because of this person. But guess what? I joined in, and at the end of the day, I realized that the person was not all what I thought he was. I know, right? That's sad. But then again, I still learned a thing or two from him, which to date, I have learned a particular skill. Yes. My token economics certification I have right now was thanks to my work at Mara. So they noticed that I'm very good with token economics. They hired external people to be handling tokenomics for them. But they realized that whenever conversations were going on, I was always asking the most questions from my team and stuff. So they now asked me, is this something you're open to do professionally? I was like, yes, if I was your opportunity. They said, okay, no problem. Go and search for any course you can find online on token economics and we'll handle it. And that was how they paid for it for me. That was opportunity to grow. It's a good work environment but please make sure that whenever you're going for interviews, ask these questions. Do I have the opportunity to say, oh, if I want to move to this level, still within this place of work, are you guys open to doing things like this? If they say no, if it's something you know that you can work with, you can take the job. But if they say no, you know it's something you cannot work with, you can thereon voice out whatever you think there is a problem, why it is that you may not want to take the role. And if after you've explained yourself and they still say no, it's now up to you to decide, do you want to continue working with them or not? Very recently, I think our COO at Manta, we're having a conversation about something, and she sensed, because my camera was on, she sensed that I was already getting pissed. And the next thing she said was, Sarah, you may not like this right now, but I'm pretty sure that you enjoy this workspace because we are supporting your growth and everything. And I just looked at her. I said, you got me right there. From the way she just said that, she was like, you know that if you stay with us longer, if you still continue, you are going to be able to achieve this. Because we had actually talked about this previously on a conversation we had. She had to bring it up and say, don't worry, even if we're unable to do this for you right now, we will do it for you very, very soon. And I was like, how soon is soon? I have to know right now, so I don't know if I'm making my decision or not. And she was like, oh, don't worry, we'll work on this and stuff. The issue went to the CEO. The real CEO head is like, please, let's give it to Sarah. Because if she starts dragging because of that, it's going to be a problem for not just us. And the reason why they're able to do this is because I'm valuable to them, if I'm being honest. So that still goes back to what we talked about during the skill stacking session. Be valuable. So by the time you now start bringing all of these your offers, you're telling them, I want to do this. I want this change to be made. They will wait. If it's something that, yes, the company can actually do, and at the same time, they know that you are valuable to them. I think it's something that I know HROs, they always do. If HROs want to negotiate with you, they would always first of all think of the company. No matter, so even if you are your HRO's best friend, they will prioritize that company over you. That's the honest truth you should know. Your HRO is not your friend. I tell people this. They will call, even if they are so sweet to you and cuddly. You see how Scott was saying they were happy they joined call, and the next thing they told them they're firing all of them. That's how HROs work. They will play with you and laugh with you, but you don't know the next thing that will happen. Like, they will fire you. They did this to a very close friend of mine, and that's why I can say this. She was so close. Actually did not tell her that they wanted to fire her. It was on the call. She knew. She couldn't even defend herself or anything. But if you have value to that company, if you're valuable to them, during times like this, you can always negotiate yourself out of situations. So while you're knowing your values, you're knowing your interests, all of this, remember that before you start presenting your values to companies, make sure you are valuable to them, or you've seen that you can be a person of value to them in any way. So the next thing you have to do right now is reflect on how this ranking influences the type of career that you want. The way you've ranked it now, what number 1 is, what number 2 is. For me, I want a good paying job. So that is why financial growth is number 1 for me. Like, it's something that I can't be leaving this job, this company. You want me to leave the company I'm working with now to come to yours, but you're not offering me something better than what these guys are offering me. I would not want to go there. Do you get my point? Because financial growth is something that, okay, I'd want to look at, because this company is already giving me everything that you're still saying you want to give to me. Why should I leave them for you? reflect on the kind of career that you want. That, oh, okay, oh, I put number one, my value, I value honesty. How will honesty affect the kind of career that you want to build? Do you want to build a career where at one point or another you have to lie? Do you think you'll be able to succeed in that particular field if you know at different times you have to lie, you have to deceive people? But then again, it goes against your value. Do we understand everything I have said so far, everything I've been saying? Please, are we still following? Great. Thank you. So now let's go to the next part of it, the part 2 of it, which is exploring career opportunities. This is something that I think most of us, this is why we are here. So I would want to speak in relation to Web3 for this. So people come to me and say, ma, I want to build career in Web3, but I don't know which side to take. Web3 is big. I hope you know this. You see how Web2, like normal internet is so big. Then we have, I think, developer. Somebody was saying she's a Flutter developer here. It's very recently I knew that there are things actually like this in development. So you can't say you're a developer and just a developer. So there's something like Flutter developers. You see people that say, oh, they're very good with C#. You see the people that will say they're very good in, like, all within development field. I only knew that, okay, in blockchain development now, there are people who are good with Solidity, some people are good with Raw, some people are good with Viper, and so on and so forth. And there are people who knows all of these things, like, they have all of the skills, full stack, thank you. That's what they call them. So, in Web3, if you say you're coming to Web3 to build a career, you have to sit down and look. Web3 is big. Which side, using your skills now that you've identified, using your interests and your passion you've identified, which area of Web3 do you want to go into? I know how to speak. I can do well in the DeFi space because I can decide to say I want to teach DeFi tomorrow and I can use my speaking skill for it to educate people. All I need to do is to learn more about them and be able to communicate my knowledge to these people. There is GameFi. Oh, let's say when I was writing my interest now, I put gaming. I love to game. I have large interest in gaming. You can decide to come into the GameFi space of Web3, whereby you could be a game developer or you could just be a gamer. I think a lot of gamers are being paid these days. That's where those ton games they come up from. That's how they build ton games now. Because we have a lot of gamers who just play these games on ton blockchain and they are earning too much money from it. And then they'll say it's airdrop, but then if I'm being honest, it's not free money. Because you are literally playing their game. You are working hard to earn whatever it is that they want to give to you. There's also NFTs. If you wrote for your interest that you have interest in drawing, you can bring it to the NFT aspect of Web3. Because that's where you have to use digital artwork, like building digital artwork in the blockchain space. There are a lot of people today, like different projects that at one point or the other, they've needed someone who can create digital art. When Louis Vuitton, they did their collection in the NFT space. Of course, if they want to work with someone who's an artist who is so good at drawing that there are no physical designs for their clothes, they will have to like illustrate it and bring it into the space, then now mint it into the blockchain for people to now purchase each of these items. And it will become a replica of like the physical work. So if you're an artist, you can do so well here. You can be an illustrator, an animator, or whatever it is in the game file or NFT field. Same goes for blockchain development. You have interest in coding. There are some people, like, I find people so weird. So you just woke up and you say you have interest in coding. I'm so sorry, but it's something that for me, yes, sorry, it's a career path I've tried to take before. I quit after 1 month. Yes. In the space of me trying to do things in Web3 space, I said, let me go into coding. A friend of mine was dragging me, Sarah, you can do everything already. Why not add coding to it? I said, okay now. But after 1 month, I opened my laptop one day. I just went to the tab and closed it. Say, never again. Because why should I sit down for over 3 to 4 hours trying to master one thing, to write one line, and one issue, you now start thinking of where the problem is from. You will sit down trying to debug for over 5 to 6 hours. Bro, I'm not caught up with that shit, man. I'm so sorry. I love a lot of things, but coding is not one of them. So it's not something I want to go. But if you love it, if you have interest in it, you can use it to build a career in the Web3 space. And then there are now different roles. Based on your skills you've identified, based on your values you've identified, now you know the aspects of Web3 you want to go to. Try to now know the roles that you can now pick. Go online and check for various roles. Now, the way this one works is, if you go online, check for career path in Web3, you see a lot of things. How you know you're a serious person that actually really, really wants to learn You've seen all of, take out time to read about each of them. When you're reading them, that's when you now know the one that aligns with your interests. Oh, you know how to speak, you know how to manage people, you love Google Documents, you know how to manage things actively. You can work as a project manager, you can work as a product manager, you can work as a programs manager in the Web3 space. Those are three different roles I have just brought out from somebody who loves to manage things. For me, I love Google Documents. Tolani would attest to that. I can take out time to read a 5-pager document, send it, send me Google Sheets. I will read it, send your reports to me. I know how to track people. Oh, I've checked this sheet. You proved that on so and so day you're supposed to do the task, but you've not done it. That is why I can do programs management effectively, because I can come up with programs and I will plan the program from the beginning to the end, to the execution. I'll put out ways for us to measure the success of that program. That is what I'm using to run Women in DeFi, my organization on its own. So I know my skills now. You see how the first exercise we did, use it to identify your skills. Now use those skills to now identify the role you want to go for in the Web3 space. For those, even if it's in the Web2 space, there are several career paths in tech, because this is a tech gathering, I believe. Think of how those skills you've identified, you want to use to do a job in the tech space, and that will now surface for you to now know the role that you now want to go for. Now you've known the role that you want to go for. That then brings us the exercise part, I totally skipped it. I just literally explained the exercise randomly by myself. Well, this is the exercise we're going to do for this. So now list out 3 companies or projects in Web3 that align with your interests. I'm sure, like, if you're saying you want to work in Web3, at one point or the other, you should have probably been able to research on the different companies. When people are telling you about Web3, come to Web3, come to Web3. If you have taken out time to go and research on companies that are in Web3 and what they do, try to know, or just list out any 3 companies you can think of in the Web3 space that you know you would want to work with in the future. Just think of any company, any 3 companies in Web3, or even in Web2. If you're in the Web2 space, think of any 2 big tech companies. If you want to put Microsoft, put Microsoft. If you want to put Google, put Google. But just make sure that whatever you're putting down is something you can work towards. Because whatever you're writing here, you are going to take it as a long-term thing. At the end of the exercise, the very last exercise we'll do, when we go into putting actions or taking actions. So don't go and write something that you know that at the end of the day, you and that thing will have issues. Now you've been able to identify those 3 companies. The next thing you want to do now is, who do you know? Not personally now. It doesn't even have to be personal. Who do you know on Twitter or on LinkedIn that is probably currently working with that company or working in that company at the moment? In consensus is like the protocol that has MetaMask wallets, Web3 too. At least I know some people working in consensus. I know someone who has worked in consensus that has active connections there that, oh, if I want to get a job there now, I can still use that person to like put a word for me. I don't know if you guys get the point. This is where the networking comes in, how you should network. Who do you know that is currently working in that company that you say, oh, you want to come and work with? You may not be friends with them, but you just know them. You see their posts a lot on LinkedIn, on Twitter, or even you guys are even on the same Discord server. Write down the names of those people. Now, your next action that you may want to take after writing the company and the people is you want to follow those people. Or to get into consensus, or rather to get into linear, I know Opeyemi. Opeyemi can put in a good word for me. How can I now connect with Opeyemi on a good level, whereby I tell him, oh, I submitted an application. Could you please put in a good word for me to the HR or the hiring manager or job recruiter for this particular role? Does that make sense? This is you asking yourself now, or telling yourself this is the next action for you to take, because now you already know the company, you know someone working there. This works a lot. So it's not enough to say you are writing CV. You are submitting CV for Kini. What's me? A friend of mine, Precious, I think we were talking at the beginning of this year. We had a session called, was it Level Up? Yes, Level Up. I did it at the beginning of this year. That's what I started my year with. And Precious was just telling them about how she applied for a job and she didn't just leave the job. Instead, she had to go on LinkedIn to start searching for people that are within her network that are currently working there. And what happened? She saw somebody that knows somebody that works there. So that's somebody she knows that she now went to go and meet and told the person, please, can you connect me with that your friend that works in so and so company? And her friend did the connection. Simple Telegram group. Oh, please, hey, meet my friend Precious. She wants to meet you. Hey, this, meet my friend. These people do this actually if they have, if they really like you enough as a friend, if they have access to this, they will connect you. I think the same thing that Scott was trying to explain about taking people out to dinner and they help you do these connections and stuff. You are building loyalty and creating, like, building debts. This person knows you a debt and this person knows that you're loyal to them and stuff. So in the future, when things comes up, these people will definitely want to come to you because they've seen what you've done for them before in the future. And long story short, she was able to get this job through this connection, because this a friend that now did the connection to this lady. She now talks to the lady, oh, this is what I can do. She literally just pitched herself. Now, this lady is not even a recruiter, but she just pitched herself. And as God would have it, this person she spoke to actually has a very big influence in the company where she like applied for. So the person was not a job recruiter, but the person was able to just say, oh, a friend of mine, Precious, applied for so and so role. She's really good. You should check her portfolio. And the recruiter now had to take out time to go and check out Precious' profile. She was good, and he employed her. Just like that. So it's not enough. If you really want to work in a particular company, do the work. Don't say you've applied, you've done interview, now rest. Go and start checking within your network. Who do you know that knows somebody there? Or who do you know that works there directly, that can help you put in a word to get a particular role? These are the things that you should do in your actions when you're trying to like work in a particular company, using your skills, using your interests. But remember, it's through your skills that you know, your interests and your values, that you're able to arrive at, oh, this is the job description that you want. And through that job description, you now know the company you want to work for. And now you're not trying to like connect to somebody that can put you into that company. Do we understand? Does this make sense to us? Okay. Now let's go to the third part of the workshop, which says skill building and development. You've been able to like identify your interests since you already know the job role that you want to do. But something we need to know is it's very important for us to identify our skills and ways that we can now use this skill to bring the most or the best out of every work that we used to do. You may be finding it difficult to identify like skills that you need to do a particular job. Let's say, for example, you have interest in writing, which you already know, and you know that you can use your writing skill to get a content writer gig, Abby. But then again, there are several other skills that you may also need to get a particular job in a particular company as a content writer, beyond you just writing. It could be your creativity, your storytelling skill, because I think right now storytelling is a big deal when it comes to like writing. If you don't know how to write stories, like to convey your message, people will not be interested because people have very low attention span right now. That's why you see TikTok. Your hook. They would always say make your hook to be something that once the person watches it, they want to see what will end at, like how that video will end because of the way you started it. It's the same as writing if you're a content writer. So you may not know the skills that you need to be able to like get that job, the skills that you need to have in your arsenal. There are several ways to do that. The first way could be by researching job descriptions. So me, I do this a lot. Let's say right now I've transitioned into partnerships, but it's something I just recently started doing it. I have had to sit down. I went to web3.career. It's a job board for getting jobs in the Web3 space, and they always list roles and stuff. What I do, I go and search for partnership managers in Web3 space. When I see it, you know, for every job opening, they always say you must have skill in this. So from doing that search, I'm able to see all the different skills that are needed for that particular role. So that's why I'm able to now say, oh, I have this skill already. I have this skill. Oh, I don't have this skill. That means I need to have this skill if I really want to do good or perform well as a partnerships manager. Well, that's where now I'm able to identify the skills I do not have that I need to learn. So reading or researching job descriptions can help you. Another way is through analyzing industry trends. The events that tell you to go for, it's not so that you go to events and just go and sit down. At the end of the day, you probably don't even carry anything because you were bored. You stopped listening to what the speakers were saying at one point or the other. Pay attention to what majority of the people are talking about. Before social fi became a thing on Twitter, I knew social fi was going to be a thing through an event I attended. where majority of like, now even sessions that had nothing to do with social fi, we had founders in Web3 space coming to talk about, oh, the next big thing in Web3 is going to be social fi. And 6 months down the line, we are seeing a lot of social fi coming up. People are farming engagement on Twitter. They say, oh, Lens, when Lens came up, does anyone here know Lens? When Lens came up, Lens Tube came up, Lens Star came up. Before all of those, I'd already known that, oh, these things are going to be the next trend. And I was already building myself, getting ready. Okay, so that if anybody from this area texts me now to say, oh, sorry, I want you to work with us, do I have the skills needed to like take that job? Do you get? So this is another thing is through studying career profiles. So you go on LinkedIn and whatnot, and you see somebody that is a good partnership manager. For example, let's say you are doing partnerships now in a particular company. What you can now do is go to the person's LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, when you see people's experiences, on that experience, let's say my experience now is in Manchester. If you read, you see the part for skills. They're always listed there. And people now go a step further to explain how they were probably able to use that skill to get results in that particular job. That is another way for you to know the skills that you need. Oh, this is a career path you want to take. This person has done it and this person is already excelling in this field. Through the person's LinkedIn, you're able to see what the person was able to do. And then you'll now write it down that, oh, I don't have this skill, oh, I need to learn. Other ways for you to identify skills is by joining communities, because then you have community members who are telling you that, oh, I have this skill, I'm a content writer, or you know this person that is a very good writer. The person is sealing deals back to back. But you not check the person profile. You say, why is this person so special? And when you check, you see that the person knows a lot of things that you don't know. It's a key for you to now say, okay, this person can do this, person can do this, person can. And then you know that these are the things you also need to do to improve on yourself in that particular areas. So now let's go to the next exercise, which is for us to analyze our skill gap. So now for the desired role, write down a role that you're interested in based on what you've written before for your skill, and you've been able to build a connection between your interests and the company you want to work with. Now write down a role that you're interested in that area. I have interest in coding. Remember when I was writing at the beginning, and I love Web3. It's a topic I'm interested in. I've been able to connect coding to Web3. So that now I could think of a job role like blockchain development or a blockchain developer. That is a role. Now, the next thing I would now want to do is to research and identify the skills that are needed to be a blockchain developer. Aside the fact that I have interest in coding now, to be a proper blockchain developer where I can work with a company and they'll be paying me big money. What are the skills I need to possess? So that when I go for an interview and I start talking, oh, I can build a clinical. I'm a full stack developer. I can do backend and front end. I have these programming languages. What are those skills that you know that are needed? For me, as a community manager, to an extent, I have knowledge in content writing. It's still the same thing as skill stacking. Remember, I have knowledge in content writing because now I have to like write content, communicate ideas with my community members. I need to have a little knowledge in graphic design. So that the day our graphic designer is fucking up, I can easily just go on Canva on my own and design my graphics by myself. I have to not have interest in people, building people, managing people. So by the time that issues burst, I will not be the first person to now run to HR or CEO that our community members are misbehaving. Then why are you community manager if you cannot manage them effectively? You cannot, I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So you should know the skills that you need. Examples for the role of a blockchain developer. You need to have smart contract development. That's where you now have to go and learn about Solidity and the others. For community manager, communication skills is written there. Then now, you know your current skills that you possess. What are those skills? Write down the skills that you know that you have. When you know the skills that you have, you now have to compare them to the ones you've identified previously as the skills that are needed to be a blockchain developer or to be a community manager. Oh, I've researched and Sarah said, I've identified now that to be a community manager, I should have a little bit of knowledge in content writing and graphics design. But the only thing I have to offer, that's the only skill I have, is probably speaking, meaning I'm lacking in content writing and graphics design. So with that, now I already know that two skills I need to build up is learning how to do simple graphic designs on my own and how to also write to communicate ideas. Sure, you see how I've been able to identify two skills now that I don't have. Does this help anyone? Is this helping anyone? Are we sure? Yes. Great. Then the last part, after comparing the skills that you have listed now, will be to curate your learning plan. So now you've seen the skills that you do not have. After listing the skills that are needed for that role, you've listed the skills you currently have. So you've ticked it off from that box now. So the ones that you see that you don't have, you now have to create a plan on how you intend to learn them. Now this plan is what would go in-depthly on during the very last exercise we do during this workshop, how to make this plan come to life. Okay, that's, you've already said you want to learn blockchain development now. You want to learn Solidity, right? What plan do you want to write and put in place for you to say at the end of the day, you are a smart contract developer? Or something that you know at the end of the day, when you sit, you know that yes, I'm a community manager. That will be the last thing we'll talk about. But so part 4, which is the final part for this workshop, we'll be looking into creating a career growth plan, which is the growth plan that I mentioned. Everybody knows what they want to be at the end of the day. I think our beautiful sister, she said she has a business, right? And she has plans already, things that she knows that she wants to achieve in that business. But it's not enough to say, I want to have a fashion business. I just said my goal, right? I want to have a fashion business. What do you think about that goal I just said? Do you think it's achievable? Do you think it's clear? Is there a clear goal? That now brings us to the next part, to talk about SMART goals. You already know what you want for your business. That's the game plan. Overall, I want to be a smart contract developer. But now, how can I be a smart contract developer? What are the things that I need to say to yes? Why do you even want to be a smart contract developer? Is it because you have searched online, you've seen that smart contract development is something that you need for you to say you're a blockchain developer? Do you get what I'm trying to say? If I have a goal now, let's say for example, my goal is I want to move to the UK. No, not I want to move to the UK. I said something when I was doing the 2 truths, 1 lie. And I think that was when I was like, I'm a global talent and stuff. So let's use that as a very good example. So I now say, I want to have global talent visa. I just say it. I want to have global talent visa. And you just leave it there. Does that make sense to you? How can you be a global talent? Do you have what it takes to be a global talent? Now, what a SMART goal looks like is, I want to have a global talent visa so that I can relocate from Nigeria to another country where that visa is acceptable. And I can apply my skills in tech into contributing to that particular country. And in return, I am achieving growth. This should be done by January or December 2025. What I have just done, I said what I want to be. I said why I want it to be. I set up the reason, like what I aim to achieve by doing that. And I also set the year or the date or the time that I want to say. So you saying you want to have a business, it's not enough to say, I want to open a business. So you should be able to say, I want to open so and so business in so and so year or so and so time or so and so date. When we give our goals a particular time, when our goals are time bound, we're able to hold ourselves accountable. So every goal has to follow what they call the SMART analysis. Like our goals need to be SMART. S stands for specific. Your goal has to be clear and concise. It helps you to answer what you want to achieve and why is it important. Going back to my example, I want to have a global talent visa. That is what I want to achieve, right? Why is this important? I want to get a global talent visa so that I can increase or expand my network in my place of work. Or I want to have a global talent visa so my career can improve through the networks I will be able to build after getting that visa. Does that now make sense? Now you understand why is it that you want to achieve that goal. The next thing is your goal has to be measurable. Now, I can't say I want to have a global talent visa and just sit down and sleep. I have to be able to track the progress. That's why when Scott was telling us about his Jira board, I was telling him that this is actually part of our workshop, because Jira helps you make your goal to be smart, specific. It measures it for you. That's where it's tracking it to tell you the measure the success, or rather the level, or rather your progress. You see ongoing, not started, in progress, finished, or completed. The same thing as Notion. We have it on Notion, like to measure the status of whatever project that you want to embark on. That is, your goal has to be measurable. What are those things that this thing, you know that, oh, you're already making progress to be a blockchain developer? Or with these things, you already know that you're making progress to be a community manager. Or with this thing, you already see to say, oh, you're making progress to building that business that you want to build. Do you get? That is what we also call milestones. For me, what's a goal, or rather, like when I'm setting a goal now, what I would want to track, let's say, for example, I want to have a global talent visa. Yes. How can I track it? I will have to go and do my research. What are the things that are required to have that global talent visa? Oh, I need to, it tells me, oh, I need to build leadership, have proof of leadership. That's when I have to write. Now I'm breaking it now. Number one, progress thing, that's milestone. Have leadership by having at least 5 speaking engagements internationally, and so and so things. Like, I have 5 speaking engagements internationally, and I also have a brand that can be easily searchable on Google. That means, okay, as I'm saying, as I'm living my life every day, trying to achieve getting that visa, it's part of the things, proof of leadership. So meaning, if I have 5 speaking engagements internationally now, it shows that, yes, this person is knowledgeable in this particular field. For people to want to come and speak on a particular topic internationally, means you are known. It shows that you're knowledgeable. So it's a milestone I'm putting there that, oh, by the time I hit my 5 international speaking engagements, I'll tick it that this is a milestone. Go to the next milestone. What is the next thing I need to achieve? Do we get it now? So now you know your goal, but these things that you're putting will help you measure it. These things you are putting down to break your goals, to help you reach the final destination. It's when you've done all of these things, you've hit all of these milestones, that you can now breathe and say, I have done it. Now I can go and apply for the global talent visa, because you've ticked all the boxes and everything, like all of the requirements and stuff. Then the next thing is it achievable? Now you've seen the requirements. You've seen the things that you need to do. You have to ask yourself, I'm saying I want to have global talent visa. Is this something that is achievable? Will I be able to get speaking engagements internationally? This is where your skills you've written down before comes in. Oh, what do I need to do to have a speaking opportunity in this particular type of event? That this is an international event that is recognized in my industry. What are the skills I need to add? See, it's still going back to your skills that you've already identified and that you need to improve on now. And then you'll now be like, oh, okay, if I can speak, if I'm good at public speaking, let's start with local events first. When I build my portfolio from local events to this extent, I can now start applying, because now you have something to back you up. International events, most of them, you put your topics, they'll ask you, have you previously done something similar before and stuff. That's where they want to know if you actually know that thing, or you're just coming there for the first time, you just want to show yourself. When you attach all the local ones you've done before, if they see your portfolio that is fine, they would accept you to be a speaker for their events. And some of these international events, they will tell you they will cover your transportation and whatnot, while some of them, you have to cover for your transportation by yourself. I've had the opportunity to speak at one event when they told me they will cover accommodation and transportation, but I have to get my visa myself. At that point, I screamed, Nigeria, you have fucked me up. Because I knew that within the time for that event, there was no way I was going to get the visa. I just told them, please, I'm a Nigerian. I'm sorry, but like, it's so impossible for me to get the visa, understand? And they're like, oh my God, that they really wanted me to come and speak on that topic. And I said, can you do it virtual? They say, no, that there's no virtual opportunity. It has to be physical. I said, I rest now, because Nigeria don't fail me. So I think that was even one of the things that made me finally decide that, you see that global talent visa, I will get it by hook or by crook. And I had to sit down to start tracking all my portfolio, everything that was needed to have it. You see that? I'm showing you now the measurable things now. So that, and then I sat down and asked myself, can I really get this global talent visa if I say I want to? And yes, because when I checked the requirements, I said that yes, I have majority of the things. The few things I didn't have, I just needed to work on it. And at the end of the day, to see if my goal was going to be achievable. Then the next thing, it has to be relevant. Does it align with your overall aspirations and your values? You see the values we talked about earlier, your deal breakers and everything. Now, I say I want to have global talent visa. Why? Does it align with what I want in the future? Yes, I want a future whereby I can freely travel between countries in my career, to go for different countries, to give a talk on a particular topic without visa being a problem for me. I want in the next couple of years that, oh, I can be able to like reach out to this people. If someone texts me on LinkedIn, oh, Sarah, would you be available for a cup of coffee in so and so place in the next couple of months? Yes, I can, because I know that I can travel freely. I have the visa to go to that country anytime I want. A connection that I know that will bring money to my organization at Women in DeFi, or a career opportunity that I know that is going to like help me. So it's relevant. The goal is relevant. I've seen it that to get that visa is something that is really relevant. So yes, I can do it. And the last one is now the time bound. When can I achieve this thing? Oh, I say I want to have global talent visa. That's why I will now say, oh, I know this is a requirement. I know these are the things I need to do. I know that, yes, it's really achievable, but what dates am I putting to say by this time next year? Don't say by this time next year. By January 22, 2026, or by January 22, 20, you put a specific date. Do you get? Put a specific date there and say, this date, I should have achieved this thing. That way, you would hold yourself accountable. Because that date will now help you go back to your measurable part of the goal, where I said you set your milestones. Those milestones, you now put and break it. The next exercise we're going to be doing is where you are breaking down your goal now into various times. Remember when I was saying, for Women in DeFi, I already know what I want us to achieve by Q1 and Q2 next year. That's because I've already set the SMART goals for us, and I've been able to see, okay, is this achievable between this time and this time? There was something I was thinking I wanted us to do by Q1, and I was like, no, you know, get it, fit it up. No matter how we do it, I have to push it to Q2. Because I've measured the goals, I've checked for the requirements to get this particular thing done. Do we have the resources? Is this something that we can do within this particular time? So what you should do right now is think of 10 goals and write it down. I know I said this. It's not part of this words on screen. It's not words on screen. Just think of 10 things that you know you want to achieve. It doesn't have to be up to 10. It could be 5 or 6 things. Just write them down. Write 5 or 6 things that you know you want to achieve in your career, in your business, or anywhere you find yourself. 5 to 6 things, or even if you can write up to 10, good for you. Praise, write. Who has written at least 5 things? Hands. Has anyone been able to write at least 5 things? Anybody? 3 things. 2. Okay. Tolani has written a lot of things. I can see her book. Tolani, what are you writing? How many goals? Okay, now let's hold on. Before we proceed, I want to say something. You see how when I said write 10 goals you want to achieve, or write 5 or 6 goals, I'm pretty sure the first 2 things you wrote and you didn't think about it because it's something that you know you want to achieve, right? You just wrote it without thinking. If I tell you that that's actually the main goal or the main 2 goals you want to achieve amongst everything you're writing, would you believe me? You didn't have to think about them. The moment I say write 10 goals you want to achieve, that was just the first thing you wrote down without thinking. Do you know that that's actually your main goal that you know that you want to achieve in your career? That will give you the most fulfillment. The other goals are valid. They're also relevant. But you see those goals you write down, that's actually the purpose of this exercise, to make us more aware of ourselves and things that we're doing. So it's not enough that you're copying words on the slides. I intentionally left it there because I know some people will do that. But if you actively participate in the exercise, you're more aware of the things that you want to do. That the things that your body or your mind has already prioritized on its own. When you were writing the goal just now, your mind did not have to think. You didn't have to crack your head to say, oh, I want to do this thing. Instead, you just wrote it down. That is because your brain has already programmed itself that this is the thing that is probably bothering you right now, that you have to like work on it, you have to solve it. That is your main goal. Now, that particular goal you have written there. Now, think of it. At what time do you think you can achieve it? Be honest with yourself, so don't go and write ridiculous dates. Is this something that you know by for the next 2 years, for the next 3 years, for the next 6 months, you can achieve it? Depending on where it falls into. If it falls within 6 to 12 months, that will be your short-term goal. If it falls within 1 to 3 years, that will be your medium-term goal or mid-term goal. But if it's something that it will take over 3 years to achieve, that is your long-term goal. This is me helping you to identify from those goals you've written now. Yeah, you take out time when you get home. Please, let's make sure to do this exercise again when we get home. Settle down and do it. That way you can know what you need to do and how you need to do them when you are like trying to plan your career goal or whatever it is that you're planning for yourself. Have we been able to identify now from just that number one goal that you wrote? Have we identified if it's long term or mid term or short term? Every other goal that you have, when you get home, take out time to now start thinking, is this a goal that I can achieve within the next 2 months? If it's something you can't achieve in the next 2 to 3 months, then it goes to mid-term. Yeah? So in the next 6 to 12 months, it goes to mid-term goal. It's not your short-term goal. And now that now brings us to the last part of the exercise, the last exercise, which is your action plan. Now, you see those goals you've written out and you've said, let's say the number one goal now that I told you to think of how long you need to like meet that goal. Say, for example, you put out, you will have to hit it in 6 months. Yeah? Now, you now think of what are those things you need to do for that thing to actually come into fruition in 6 months. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So let's say, if I wrote that thing now, my goal is to have global talent visa, yeah? And I say I want to have global talent visa by December 2025. I already know the requirements for the visa and everything. Now, what are the things I need to do between now and December 2025 for me to get it? Does it require me going for events? You see how those skills now that we're thinking of that we don't have, this is where the actioner comes in. How we can now build on to get those particular skills, because it's already your goal. Like when you identify the skills, like I'm talking about building a career now. You've identified you don't have the skill. So this is a goal for you to learn this particular skill. So what are the steps you need to take? Does that now mean that I have to be taking classes 3 hours every day or spending 3 hours per week to learn this particular course, to learn the thing? Do you get? So you have to see, this is something that you have to think and you have to be honest. Don't go and lie. That you, as I say right now, you not say, okay, I want to build a business. I want to have a business by March 2025. You not sit down and ask yourself, do you have capital to start this business? Between now and that date that you put, do you have the required capital? Have you done your research about this business? These are steps now to say you want to start a business. Have you done your research? Have you done your competitor analysis? Have you done your market analysis for you to understand the market you want to build that business? Okay, what are the things that would probably, your external, there's a word they use in business, like your external problem. Yes, personal analysis. Have you done your personal analysis? Personal analysis is what helps you know your external issues. That's your political, environmental, social, technological, environmental, and legal issues that could affect your business. If you decide, have you done your SWOT analysis? Now, I'm speaking in respect to people that want to have a business now. Have you done your SWOT analysis? Your SWOT analysis tells you your strength, your opportunities, your weakness, and your threats. Your strength and your weakness is the inborn thing that's within your team now if you decide to open a business. While your opportunities and threats are the external things. What are those things that outside of what you can control, they can be an opportunity for you or they can be a threat to you? That is what covers your pestle analysis actually. So know your opportunities and threats. So in Lagos now, you want to open a business in Lagos. Just know put in your back of your mind that you will pay tax, you will sweat. Just know that Sean people will disturb you. You want to have a sign, before you can have a signpost in Lagos here. I hope you know, like, there are a lot of processes. So you have to now think, you want to have a business, but having a signpost outside for people to know that this is your business, this is where your business is something you have to consider when you're opening a business. So within that date you put, is it possible for you to have that signpost by there? Sure, you not see the things now. This is where they're examining. Oh, you want to have global talent visa. In your heart of hearts and mind of mind, will you ever get those international speaking opportunities between now and December 2025 that you wrote there? Sure, you see how one thing is leading to the other. When you now study these actions, that's when you cannot write them. So the step one says, identify academy. Now, this is for those who probably want to take a course to learn a particular skill. The first step I put there is for you to identify the academy. Oh, I know that I need to learn Solidity. I know that Web3, is it Web3 schools or what's that their name? Or Freedco Camp. I know one of them, sorry, W3, thank you. They do Solidity training. Oh, or meta school. It's meta school I was even trying to think of. They do solidity training. I've written it. I will take up a course in meta schools or W3 schools. Number two, you have to register and start the course, Abi. Okay, I have to register and start. The next, I will not think. Because if it's a self-paced course, that means they're telling you that whatever time you finish it, that's when you are set to take your certificate. But then you've already told yourself at the beginning of the planning that you must have that skill by December 2025. So now you now have to sit down and think of, you see how many modules are in the course, and all courses always tell you that, oh, if you commit 3 hours to it, you'll be able to get the certificate to this so number of days. Well, now you now check your own time. Is it possible for me to really commit that 3 hours to it? Do you get? Then you now use your own available time to measure up to the number of time you want to commit to learning that course. So then you now know, when you do this time calculation, you know that the particular, by so and so dates, you should be done with this course. Meaning by that time you have a certification. That is where your milestones also come in. Oh, through the certification I get from completing this course, I know that, yes, I have achieved something. Or you could say, let's say you want to be a full stack, or you want to have you want to know a lot of programming languages. You want to know Solidity, you want to know Rust. It's still during this process you set up your milestone. Learn Solidity as a milestone. Learn Rust as a milestone. Learn Viper. Then for each of these milestones, they have their own actions. What do I need to do to learn Solidity? You write out the entire plan that you need to do, and what dates, what time, like what date of the, what year do you want to know that, oh, by the time you've completed it, you know that you have tried for Solidity before you move on to the next goal. These things help. Then you put your deadline. See how I ended in May 2025. Let's say, for example, now I want to learn that blockchain development course. So by May 2025, I must be a blockchain developer. So when I'm doing all of these things, I know what the steps I need to take, that by May 2025, I can go and put it on my LinkedIn. Blockchain developer. Under, put skills. Skills. You list the skills. I'm talking about your profile now. Then I'll now settle down. I am thrilled to announce that I am now officially a certified blockchain developer by Meta Schools. After going through an intensive training of 5 years, blah, 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 I am achieved. Do you guys get it? Then you'll not be seeing comments like, insightful, congratulations, you have done well, this is amazing, well done. This is so, do you get? But before you get this training, you have to put in the work. You have to plan. You see, but yeah, with that, you'll be able to like come up with a plan to know the skills that you need, how you need to learn the skills, and what day you need to know that, oh, you have learned the skill. So that brings us to our conclusion. By now, I believe we should have a deeper understanding of ourselves, our interests, our values. We know what we need to do, our skills that we need to build. You've been able to understand your niche. Remember when we were talking about the exploring career opportunities, we're able to know what area of Web3 we wanted to do. So that's the you understanding your niche. And the opportunities you can get from it, that's like different job roles. We've also been able to like make a self-reflection a priority. So you have to always have to like reflect, self-reflect, know what skills that you need. Where are you lacking by identifying those skills that you've identified, and then you come up with an action plan. The last one is prioritize smart goals. Whatever goal you want to have, whatever thing you know you want to achieve, always make sure to do that smart analysis. Is it specific? Is this goal specific? Is this goal measurable? Is this goal achievable? Is this goal relevant? And is it time bound? Like the date or time that you know that this particular plan or this goal that you have for yourself, is this something that you can achieve? And with that, we have come to the end of our workshop today.